I never played the original Ratchet and Clank game for the PlayStation 2, or any Ratchet and Clank game for that matter. But with the Ratchet and Clank movie coming out and a new remake of the first game coming out soon, or already, depending on when you watch this video, I thought it would be a good time to play the original game before watching the movie and playing the remake. Instead of playing the original PlayStation 2 version for this review, I played the HD remastered Ratchet and Clank Collection version that came out for the PlayStation 3 in 2012. It was just easier for me to play this version, as I haven't hooked up my PlayStation 2 in forever, so I'm not even sure if it still works. Ratchet and Clank was developed by Insomniac Games. After their contract with Universal was up and they finished working on the Spyro the Dragon series, which Universal kept the IP to, Insomniac started developing games directly for Sony. After working on Spyro games for so long, they wanted to make a new game with an original character. They came up with several ideas, but nothing really panned out, until Brian Hastings came up with an idea for a space adventure game with a science fiction theme that would involve space travel, where the main character would collect various weapons as he progressed through the game. Ratchet was originally a lizard creature, but he slowly evolved into his current form. They also wanted Ratchet to have a bunch of small robots attached to him, which would perform different functions. But Insomniac realized that having the 3 robots was complicated, so they went with one robot, which turned into Clank. Now they had a good idea, but didn't have a good engine to create the game, until Jason Rubin, on behalf of Naughty Dog, offered to let them use the engine of Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. The only thing they wanted in return was the improvements they made on it. Insomniac said yes, and they developed a lot of the Ratchet and Clank engine technology in-house, using some important renders from Naughty Dog. And thus, Ratchet and Clank were born.
Spoiler!
The game starts on a desert planet called Veldin, where the mechanic Ratchet, a Lumbax, a cat-like alien race, is working on a ship. On another planet, a machine is creating an army of robot soldiers. It malfunctions and makes a small robot called XJ-0461. The small robot looks around the factory and finds an infobot, a robot that can store and display video messages. The small robot sees something in the infobot's screen and is freaked out by it. The robot grabs the infobot and escapes the factory in a nearby ship, but the enemy ships chase after him. The ship is shot down and falls towards Veldin. Ratchet investigates the crash site and finds the robot and names him Clank. The two click and agree to stop the Blargian chairman Drek, who wants to take large parts of planets around the galaxy and combine them into one planet for his race to live on, because their original planet, Orxon, has become polluted and overpopulated. Clank wants to get Captain Quark, a famous hero, to help them, so the two leave planet Veldin and crash land on planet Novalis, which is under attack by Drek's army. They find a new ship and travel from planet to planet looking for Quark and fighting Drek's forces. They finally find him on planet Rilger, where he says he'll help stop Drek if Ratchet and Clank can survive a deadly obstacle course on planet Umbris. After they complete the course, Quark reveals that he is Drek's spokesman, and he doesn't want to lose his sponsorship deal, so he traps them in a pit and leaves them to battle a Blargian Snagglebeast. After Quark's betrayal, Ratchet is more concerned with getting revenge against Quark than stopping Drek's plans, which Clank does not agree with. The friendship starts to fall apart after Ratchet blames Clank for leading him into Quark's trap, as he did not trust him from the beginning. After that, they constantly argue over which is more important, stopping Drek or getting vengeance on Quark. After defeating Quark, Ratchet finally puts aside his pride and they focus on stopping Drek. The two explore more planets and destroy a Planet Buster missile before they discover that Drek has created a new planet-destroying laser called the Deplanetizer, and the planet he wants to destroy is Veldin. Ratchet and Clank go to Veldin to stop him. It's then that Drek reveals that he plans to pollute the new planet, forcing the Blarg to relocate and repeating the process all over again. After the battle, Drek is shot at the planet he created, crashing and dying. Ratchet then uses the Deplanetizer and destroys the planet. The fragments from the planet rain down, knocking both Clank and Ratchet off the platform. Clank manages to grab a ledge, damaging his arm in the process. Not being strong enough to pull them up, he is able to use his thruster pack to break their fall. With Drek defeated, the adventure over, Ratchet takes Clank home with him to repair his arm. Ratchet and Clank is a 3D platformer where you play mainly as Ratchet, who you control from a third-person perspective. Clank acts as Ratchet's thruster pack, but can be controlled at certain times to explore certain areas. Playing as Clank, you don't have any weapons, but you can punch to defend yourself. You can also find little robots to help you fight and advance through levels. You explore different planets collecting different gadgets and weapons that you use to defeat enemies. and you also pass obstacles by completing mini-games to unlock doors, extending bridges, or raise platforms. Through the adventure, you find infobots that give you clues on where you need to go next to progress in the story. With the new weapons and gadgets, you can go back to older planets and explore parts of it that you weren't able to access before. There are a few levels where you pilot a spaceship to shoot down enemy tankers and battle Captain Quark. There is also a racing minigame where you ride a hoverboard and race against computer players, and you do have to do it at least once to advance in the game. You start off with only 2 weapons, but as you complete missions on different planets, more weapons and gadgets become available. You can either find or buy up to 36 weapons and gadgets. Some of my favorite weapons were the Doom Glove, which tosses out a small ball that turns into small robots that attack enemies, the Devastator, which is a rocket launcher, and a Blaster, which is an energy gun. You can also buy gold weapons, which are more powerful versions of existing weapons. You can buy these gold weapons using gold bolts. There are 40 in total, and you can find them throughout the game. Your main weapon is the Omni Wrench, which is a close-range melee weapon. All the other weapons are secondary, which you can only have one equipped at a time. For the most part, I only used the Omni Wrench to attack. A lot of the secondary weapons are really cool, but I hardly felt the need to use them, unless I really had to. Of course, that could have just been my playstyle. You can find bolts, the game's currency, and ammo inside of crates or from defeated enemies. You do have to buy ammo for some weapons, and a small amount of weapons don't require ammo to work. You can also use bolts to buy health upgrades. After you beat the game, you can play Challenge Mode, which is a new game plus where the difficulty level is raised considerably, but all the bolts and weapons you got from the first playthrough are carried over. I really enjoyed this game. The gameplay was fun and the controllers were solid, so if I messed up, it was normally my fault. The game isn't very difficult, but there were times where I struggled a little. I drowned a lot on this one part in the game. It gave me flashbacks from drowning as Sonic. The HD version of the game looks great. Well, I never played the original, so it's kinda hard for me to compare the two. I can't say, just from going off the looks, they did a good job with the HD port. The music was enjoyable, but none of it really stood out to me. And there were plenty of times while I was playing that I really noticed the looping, and it kinda bugged me. I like the characters, they all seemed unique, but Drake wasn't a very interesting villain. He was pretty much a businessman who was trying to make money through some evil scheme. Ratchet also didn't come off as heroic. A lot of the times through the game, he often complained and seemed to want to do other things instead of helping people. Like there's this one mission where he wants to help someone just so he can get a new hoverboard. Clank even mentions that they're on a mission and they don't really have time to do this, but Ratchet doesn't really seem to care. I think it was just an issue with the story. It starts off so fast that you don't really understand what is motivating your characters. Like, why is Clank trying to stop Drek? Is it just because he was defective? How did he know who Quark was? He was just recently created. Was Quark an actual hero or just some actor that was on TV a lot? I think they should have spent a little bit more time on how the main characters met and given us a better understanding on why they wanted to stop Drek and why they wanted to be heroes. One of the things that also bothered me about this game is that you needed to buy certain items to progress in the game. It wasn't a big problem for me because I normally had the bolts I needed to buy the item, as bolts are everywhere. I just didn't understand why they put it in the game, and it started to bug me after a while. I mean, everyone wanted me to buy some item off of them, it seemed, just so I can progress in the story. Overall, the game was good. Although it did have some problems, mainly with the story, the gameplay and everything else was still solid enough to make it an enjoyable experience. And if anything else, it got me excited to play the remake and watch the movie, just so I can see if they improved the story. For the first game in the series, it was really good, and I can see why it got so many sequels. I definitely recommend this game for anyone not wanting to play something too serious and wanting to have a fun time. And now, with this adventure complete, I'm out to watch some infomercials on TV. See you next time.
That is Corey. He's helping us with our inflatable decoy test for Ratchet and Clank. Oh, man.
The inflatable decoy, one of 36 weapons and gadgets not fit for this world. Rated T for